switch gears right now because trying to find a family doctor. Many of you out there, I am sure, can relate to this. It's been such a difficult time, and we're talking about it more and more, but this has been a problem for the last decade. And my next guest is going to talk about just that. Alek Golijanin, co-creator of DocConnectCA. Welcome to the show, Alek. Great to have you here. Maybe you can expand on that, the lack of family doctors available in your experience and research, Alek. What have you seen? How serious is it?
Certainly. So I think the best way to approach this conversation is to identify the elephant in the room when it comes to family doctors.
Okay.
So for children without a designated family doctor, that's an inherited outcome. By definition, that makes it a systemic inequity, and that is what I wanted to focus on trying to find a solution for. So in this whole process, one thing that I was able to identify, a systemic inequity in the process, has to do with something that can be best described as the favoring of certain children over other children.
Really?
And the best way to sort of illustrate that example, what we'll use is, let's say there's a young family, right?
Right.
And that young family is looking to grow their family. And whether that's through birthing, adopting, or fostering, as long as that family has a designated family doctor, their child is going to be guaranteed to be able to get a designated family doctor.
Right.
Based on the pre-existing relationship that their parents have with the family clinic. So we get back to this issue of pre-existing relationships, and once again, it's a systemic inequity that we identify. And that's what takes us to the DocConnect solution. Right.
So yeah, that's the inspiration behind it. So what solution have you come up with?
Sure. So DocConnectCA, what it is it's super simple. It's a web-based tool that's designed specifically for high school guidance counselors. And the idea behind it is once a guidance counselor identifies an adolescent as not having a designated family doctor, there's something in place that can actually be done to potentially change that. The tool itself has two key functions. The first is to identify the location of the clinic.
Okay.
So it's proximity based on postal codes.
So this is like a doctor lookup, a clinic lookup?
Something along those lines.
Okay.
It's based on proximity. You type in the postal code and you're connected with 15 to 20 potentially clinics.
I see.
The second part of this tool is that it provides print-ready application forms. And that can go a long way for adolescents that sometimes don't know where to start, or who sometimes have challenges with health literacy. So maybe they can't rely on their parents for the supports, and it might be overwhelming for them to do it on their own.
So then on the other side of it, can doctors add themselves to it?
Sure, so this tool would be administered by an administrator, and that's why we've reached out to the province and to school boards. In terms of sustaining itself, it's very self-sustaining. It takes 20 seconds or so to add a family doctor or to remove one.
Okay. Yeah. So you've reached out to the province. What then was the response?
Absolutely. So the province informed us that, this looks like a great solution, but the best approach is to go to school boards directly.
I see.
And that's what we've done.
There's constantly studies out there and numbers, and so do we have statistics available?
Sure. So one thing that really struck me was when I was looking through this data and going over research, one of the commonalities that I identified that some adolescents shared was that they were more likely to live in low-income communities and that they were more likely to be members of racialized groups. And if we looked a little bit further, it was not uncommon for them to be members or first generation, second generation Canadians, so early generation Canadians, right? Now, this gets interesting when we consider that health and wellness supports, they're not covered under OHIP. So for families that want to seek out health and wellness supports for their children, they have to do so by incurring costs.
So when you say health and wellness support, what do you mean exactly?
So let's say they want to do like mental health.
I see.
That's considered talk therapy. And talk therapy is not something that's covered under OHIP. And the issue with all of that is for families that can't afford those services for their children, that has serious long-term health implications, and it can complicate an already challenging transition from adolescence to adulthood.
You would imagine that the province would do their own studies on the. I mean, through your research, did you find anything from the province that that connected with your own research?
For sure. So there's quite a bit of data coming in suggesting that we really need to do more. The World Health Organization has signaled the alarm as well.
Right.
And that's really what this whole approach is about. It's trying to find a niche and doing it the most effective way possible. It goes back to Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Theresa Tam. A report she put out in 2018 on public health identified this thing called a blueprint for action model. And what the blueprint for action model is essentially it's an approach that focuses on school-based initiatives, and it focuses also on addressing those substance-related harms.
So I'd ask you quickly then, do the school boards and the schools know about this right now? How are you getting the information?
Exactly. So I have reached out to school boards.
Okay.
And I've connected with them. The next steps essentially are, can we make this work? Does it make sense for them?
I see.
But the best thing about this tool is that it's a no-cost solution. So it's being offered at no cost. It's absolutely free.
People can find out, I imagine, more information on the website, Alek?
Absolutely. So Golijanin.ca, I have a designated section that also highlights our report as well.
Wonderful.
And the report is really unique in the sense that it was put together with a network of cooperation.
Right.
And
Sorry, Alek, run out of time. I appreciate you coming, though. Thanks so
Excellent.
much.
Thank you.